Welcome to She Rises Up podcast with Gema and Lara. We are multi-award winning international coaches, authors and speakers specialized in women's empowerment and conscious leadership for women. Here we want to empower, uplift and elevate you with conscious conversations aimed to unify femininity, business and consciousness.
Welcome again, ladies. How are we? It's episode 18 of the podcast She Who Rises Up, and we're still in quote unquote sunny Spain because actually it's not sunny at all, right? How are you, Gemma?
It's not sunny at all. And funny enough, we started again talking about the weather, but it's not. It's been raining all night and day where I am, and there was a thunderstorm last night, and I loved it. I must say.
Well, there is where did I read that from a spiritual perspective, there is a meaning for thunderstorms
Uh-huh.
and even for rain. I mean, what's the reason that we reject rain, right? Or some people reject rain and reject the bad weather.
Mm-hmm.
Who decides what's good weather and bad weather?
Exactly. I love the rain, and I love it. And it makes me feel really good because there's lots of negative ions in the air when it's raining, and it makes me feel really good. I love it, and it brings difference. It's been hot for so long, so today's different. So what? It's beautiful as well.
Yeah. So what hot updates do you have to share, by the way?
Well, for those who listened to the last episode, I was about to get married, so I did. On September the 3rd. It was a beautiful, beautiful day. Lots of personal work was done before the wedding, and it was beautiful how everything flew in such a lovely way. It was a beautiful day, and I must say that it feels beautiful to be married. It was something that I never thought I could say or I would do. And now that you are with I'm talking for myself, I am with a person that I feel is the one. It just feels so natural and so beautiful. Things have changed for the better. We closer than before. It's more beautiful than before. And I'm really enjoying being a wife and having a husband. I never thought I would say those things. But it's been really beautiful. And my experience of these last 2 weeks, of course, is related to the wedding, how things flew so beautifully to the last minute. We worked really hard because we decided to work on my parents' piece of land that we have here in Cadiz, and it has been abandoned for many years. So we decided to come there for the summer and restore it. And it's been really hard work. And then we decided to celebrate the wedding there. So it added extra stress. At the same time, both projects kind of came together, restoring the house and preparing for the wedding. And yeah, it has been lots of work. We have enjoyed it. We've had our challenges on the way, never obstacles. It flew beautifully, and even the challenges prepare us for the next step of the way up to the last minute. The beauty thing of all is that the price of the hard work. Well, living in the country was beautiful, but we had lots of mosquitoes. In the evening, around 7 o'clock, mosquitoes come out. And it has been a nightmare because obviously when you feel more comfortable being outside, the work is finished for the day, you sit outside and then mosquitoes come out. And you have to go inside or put mosquito repellent on you, which we don't like doing. So it's been a bit of a nightmare. We haven't been able to work or to do much because of the mosquitoes in the evening. And also the weather as well. The first quarter of August was really, really hot. And some days we had a very, very strong winds that we had sometimes in this area. So we didn't know how the 3rd of September was going to be in there. Maybe we had winds, the mosquitoes would come out. So we had candles prepared, mosquito repellents for people. So the day of the wedding came, the weather was beautiful. We only have some breeze coming in sometimes. It was summer hot, but it wasn't too hot. It was just perfect. And then we realized that we didn't have mosquitoes at all in the whole day. We haven't had one day in the last 2 months living there without mosquitoes. The wedding day, we didn't have one mosquito. Not one person complained about being bitten by a mosquito. The candles weren't lit because we didn't need them, the citronella candles. Nobody used the mosquito repellents because we didn't need them. And we realized this is a gift from the universe for all the hard work, for the love that we put in everything we did. And this is the gift, that everything was perfect and everybody spent a beautiful day without mosquito. So what's the lesson there? It's just we have a dream, or we have a plan, we have a project, and of course we put it out to the universe to help us with, but it doesn't mean that we haven't got to do the work. We do the work, we follow with action, and the reward is that everything flows, everything happens, and then you have the extra gift, like a day without mosquitoes. So that was my share for the last 2 weeks.
Which is very interesting, and it's connected to the theme of the podcast that we had last week about fruition, right? So it depends on the energy that we are doing things from. Of course, we're going to get the energy back. The results will match the vibration in which we have put the intention out. So I put the intention out, and the intention in comes back with the same vibration. So
yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. And we felt it so clearly that it was a gift from the universe. Something happened to the mosquitoes that didn't come out that day. And we don't know what happened to them, but the next day we're there. So we're very grateful.
Wow. So my hot news, well, apart from being a year older now, I have a little niece, another one, so it's three, another girl that came into our lives, which I'm very grateful for. And I feel a sense of responsibility with these girls, especially doing the work that I do. But equally, I need to realize that their path has nothing to do with mine, or maybe yes. So I look forward to see them grow. So yeah, it's 3 days old. They're so cute, so cute. And what has been my lesson? Well, actually, I was going to share something in relation to everything that I've been going through now with my mother's situation. And she suffers from dementia, and I come back to Spain to look after, not to look after, actually to support the family. That's fair to say. But I decided actually I'm not going to say that. So I'm going to reserve that for next time when we do the podcast, and see what comes up once I get back to London. And what I would like to share is the fact that we have a podcast in Spanish, that we have a few episodes in there. And I remember that the way we birthed doing the podcast in Spanish, it was very aligned. It was so much excitement, and I was so looking forward to it. I still remember the first day when we were doing the podcast, and the massive insights that I had with the podcast. That was super freeing that day. And I think I may have shared that before in the podcast. So what is my lesson? My lesson is that I have decided not to continue with the podcast in Spanish, because sometimes, and it's very in relation to the theme of today, that sometimes we don't have to attach to things when they're not meant to be for us. And I feel that the podcast came into my life to provide me with a massive lesson that it provided me. And apart from being super thankful for that opportunity, and for the gift of that lesson and that realization, so it's time to say goodbye to it, and I'm very okay with it. So the lesson is that the lesson is, am I attaching myself to something because I'm supposed to? Right? It's like I could come up with so many reasons as to why I shouldn't leave the podcast in Spanish, because of this, because what they're going to be thinking, and you've only done it for a few times, and this and that. But the truth is, I know my truth, and I need to be I need to be truthful with my truth. And my truth is that the podcast came to give me a lesson, and it's now for me to say goodbye for it for now, for now. So that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to share.
Yeah, and I think that takes a lot of courage, right? To say, okay, this is not for me. It's something I got started with lots of enthusiasm. I thought it was going to be really something I really wanted to do, and it turns out to be no. Well, I've got the lesson, and I'm walking away, and it takes a lot of courage to do that.
And especially because it was with you as well, Gemma. You know, so it's I could have done it. Or another idea would have been, oh, I don't want to let Gemma down, or what would be thinking, or whatever. And so the point is that, keeping all that in mind, how many times are we doing things that are not aligned for us, for others? And now when the others actually are on the same vibration, like in the case of ourselves, it was the most natural conversation, right? It was very natural, and it was very, it's normal.
Exactly, and it's a type of self-care, right? Just to do what feels right for you and say no to things that doesn't feel good to you anymore. It doesn't matter what the other person are gonna think. If the others react in a negative way, then that's their problem, because you're doing what is right for you and you're being authentic, your authentic self. It worked for a while, now it doesn't work for me now. And that's why it takes courage, because not everyone will react or will respond in the way that, in a conscious way, let's say.
Exactly. And it's so linked with our card today. And there is a little story with this card. So when we picked the card in the morning, well, actually it was yesterday morning when I was shuffling the cards and say, okay, let's see what comes through. But I felt that it was like a card that just, I didn't feel connected, and it was very noisy, and the dogs were barking, and I felt that I wasn't connected, right? It's very interesting. It's like, I need to be connected in order for these things to come through. And a card came up, and I'm like, no, I'm not in the mood. I'm not in the mood. I'll do it later on. And it's very interesting, when in the evening I went to pick up the card. Well, guess what card I picked? The same card that I got in the morning. So it was very clear that when something needs to come through, it's going to come through regardless if you are connected or not, right? And the card is the card of assessing. It's the card of assessing. And what we see, it's a woman. Let me describe it for you. It's a beautiful card. There is a woman with a, what's it called?
A telescope.
Telescope. She is on a hot air balloon. It seems that she's outside in the universe, on top of literally the earth, and she's assessing, right? She's assessing the universe. And again, this is a theme, but it's so true. That is like, okay, what does it mean, Gemma?
Well, it's funny that you explained that, because when I saw the card that you sent me last night, I thought, what does it mean? I didn't get anything. I thought, what the hell is this? And I didn't get anything until just before recording this, talking to you earlier. And listening to you right now, I realized that actually my current situation is that of assessing my life. We just got married, and obviously the stress of not the stress, because it has to be stressful, but the work of preparing the wedding, because we prepared everything, just the two of us, is finished. And the piece of land, there's still lots of work to be done, but the main things have been done, and we have everything in plan. So what do we want to do now? We're not people who want to just stay here and do nothing. So the honeymoon and the last few days after the wedding have been assessing the life that we've had up to now, and assessing the future. And for me, it has been especially comforting to do that, to have a few days to stop. And okay, so we're going from one cycle to the next. I need to stop and assess what's happened, what have learned, who I have become, what are we doing for the future, what do we want, and from there, then create new things, create new projects. So it's funny that I just realized just now, listening to you, Lara, that this is what I have been the last few days since the wedding with my husband, assessing our life together, what we want to do, what's happened, how we want to take life forward. And it has been really rewarding for me, at least, to stop and do that. So sometimes in between projects, in between cycles, is a great way of, and we do that in the corporate world, right? We do that. After a project, we sit down and assess lessons learned, what are we going to do to go forward on the next phase. And it's important to do that rather than move on to the next without doing that work.
Well, exactly, and the thought is, it's how many times have we done that? We jump from one thing to another without having the time, without having also the courage and the respect towards ourselves to say, what do I want, right? And the what do I want comes with the responsibility of the answer that I'm going to get, and with everything that comes with it. I mean, the idea that was coming to mind that if your washing machine is broken, first I need to assess it, right, before I replace it, or I need to buy a new one. Or even if you need to buy a new washing machine, first you need to assess that washing machine before you buy it, right? So actually assessment, it's an important step, which actually comes, as Gemma was mentioning, with the wanting to, number one, get the answers, and number two, stopping and being super honest with yourself and with the situation. What is really going on here? Right? And actually, this is a beautiful card, and I encourage all the beautiful women that are listening to us and listening to this podcast. It's with the energy of autumn. What is autumn? Autumn is the moment of shedding, right? I'm shedding all the leaves. I'm shedding all the everything that I don't need anymore to prepare for winter. And winter, it's time to hibernation, and hibernation and gestation before I give birth in spring. So with the energy of autumn, let's do that. Let's take a moment to assess what is really going on. What is time to let go of? What do I need to see that I'm not seeing? What do I need to hear that I'm not hearing? And having the courage to do that. And it's very interesting that actually we decided, both of us, to take another card, right, to see, to give us a little bit of an extra what's it called, extra message. And the card that came through was a card of freedom. So what needs to be assessed to help me to get closer to freedom? So what do I need to assess so that which is assessed will take me closer to freedom?
And I love that he said freedom from attachment. Sometimes in between cycles, we get attached to results, or we get attached to way of doing things, and without the proper assessment, we won't realize that is the truth, that we are attached to something, and maybe things need to change to get different results. Also, I like something that you mentioned when we were talking just before recording the podcast, the recording, that maybe it's time to stop and assess what's happening in the world as well, to see, what's happening. How are we responding to what's out there? Are we responding from our truth? Are we doing things or not doing things because that's what you want or don't want to do? Or are we moving and doing things because of the environment is kind of guiding us or forcing us to do things in a certain way? What's happening out there? I don't know if you have anything to add there.
Yes, what I would like to add is actually, how, because assessing is asking myself the question, how am I? What is going on here, right? So this is how I know. Assessment, basically, I'm becoming a detective, also I'm observing the situation, as you mentioned, from a place of detachment. So some of the questions that's coming to mind is, what is stopping me from assessing? What am I scared of, that to the extent that I'm willing to live in fear rather than confront that fear? Because I don't want to see the truth about it, right? And also some questions that is coming to, another couple of questions that are coming to mind is, where, how, and to who am I giving my power to? Let's start assessing that. Another way of assessing, especially with everything that's happening in the world, with vaccinated versus unvaccinated, and oh my God! And by the way, we've grown so much. We've grown so much. We've learned so much over the last 1.5 years. We have contributed. Uh, um, to conversations that I personally is like, oh wow, okay, I get it, I get it, I get it. It wasn't the most conscious one, it wasn't the most aligned one. I thought I was doing what was right, but now I recognize that I was contributing towards the same thing that's being created, generally speaking. So the question that's coming to mind is, how am I? Let's start assessing, and this is a very pertinent and potent question at the same time. How am I creating separation? How am I contributing to separation these days, and especially with everything that's happening in the world? So this feels very a very what's it called? A very, yeah, trending trending questions to ask ourselves.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And with the fall of autumn, with the change of a period, going back to school, and we don't know what's going to happen. I think it's the time to stop and reassess. Why are we doing things? What do we really think about what's going on in the world? Do we really understand what's happening? Because from my perspective, we are living in a holographic reality. It's all a game. There's no good or bad, no evil or gods. We're all here, uh, doing our best, learning, remembering, and there is a plan of someone who seems to have the power, I suppose, or the control, and it's going to happen. And I think our job is to adapt to that, maybe even work and try and change it from within. I don't know if that's possible. I believe it is. But the main thing is to adapt and live with whatever comes. My partner gave a great example the other day. It's like we're playing a game of, I don't know how you call it in English now. It's like a game of chess, but it's not chess. It's something different. You have only two colors, and you play with that. And then the board is the same, but the game changes, and it's now chess. And then you have lots of different figures, the king and the queen, and it's a different game, but the board is the same. And that's what's happening in the world, I think. The board is the same, but just the game is changing. The game is changing, and we need to learn the new rules, adapt, and live consciously in the new phase of the game.
Interesting you saying that. And okay, do you know that the something that we covered before we you know, the private conversation that we're going through before, that especially with everything that's happening in the world, in fact, continue with this conversation, is that this is the ultimate test for the good girls. For the archetype of the good girl, this is the ultimate test, right? To say, okay, so for us, former good girls, this is a very interesting time, and I think one of the reasons that came here to Earth, personally speaking, is to learn the lesson of that. Yeah, no, it's not that about not being a good girl, but the wild woman, the person who is happy to go against the current, big times, and be okay with it. And people who actually and not only that, so what what we were mentioning earlier on, I don't know if you're going off the tangent now, but what we mentioned earlier on is that I have at least created separation with others by my way of thinking without realizing that that wasn't going to take anywhere. But I realized through assessment of that I needed to go through that phase,
Yes.
go through that phase in order for me to bring another level of understanding at a much higher level that is it's inclusive, and that it's an understanding that all of us here have a path, whether we go to the right or to the left, whatever decision we make, your decision is right and my decision is right, and it's okay, right?
Yes. Yes, it is like that. I relate to that.
And something else is very interesting that I was thinking about this a few days ago, especially in the consciousness community, where it feels as if there are double standards. The double standards of we believe in soul contracts, we believe in reincarnation, but only when it suits us to believe that. Right, so otherwise I'm going to be fear of death, of dying because of a virus, basically, right? Well, actually, if you believe in soul contracts, and if you believe in reincarnation, so what's make up your mind, where how can we bring these two philosophies together? Because if not, what am I living, a double life?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
How did we get into here? How did you get into here?
I don't know, but I thought I think it's the place where we needed to end.
Yeah. So, how,
For today.
any final thoughts?
Any final thoughts? No, nothing comes out. Maybe just reiterate my current situation. We just realized by talking about it and assessing the life that you're living, being conscious of every cycle that ends or needs to end, and assess and change, or keep doing the same thing if it works, but keep learning. That's, I think, the assessing is part of the keep learning mentality, which for me is the only way of living, is the only way of achieving some sort of happiness and balance in life. But keep learning. So assessing, yeah, nice word. I will remember. I was a bit shocked when I saw it last night when you sent me, but it has a huge meaning and relevance to what's going on right now in the world and in my personal life as well.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, from my perspective, is have the courage, ladies, have the courage to assess, have the courage to say, to be willing to get the answers, even if those answers are going to shake up your world completely and put it upside down. And so, what if it does? And so, what? And if anything, that is going to help you as an initiation, and everything that we've been going through at different phases, not only over the last 18 months or so, but our lives is actually a big initiation, and we've been initiated over and over and over again, and been okay with that initiation as part of our unfoldment. So I would say yes, with the energy of the autumn, let's see what's fit for purpose. What are the ideals that I need to let go of? What are the people that I need to let go of? What are the habits that I need to let go of? Let's assess everything. Take a weekend off. Take a week off. Take 1 hour a day, 1 hour a week, whatever suits you. You create the space for you to say, okay, let's think, let's connect. And the more you practice that, actually is going to be very quick for you as well to start assessing situation. And this is when you start doing it from a place of not only data, because we like to work with hardcore data as well, and that hardcore data is literally either the data and the facts, but also the facts in our lives, and also using our intuition. So we could use both of them at the same time.
Yes.
That's it, right?
That's it.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay, so ladies, we'd love to hear from you. We hope you enjoyed it. We went for it. Today, took it a notch higher. But as mentioned, Gemma mentioned, if we can't talk here, where can we talk, right? Where can we talk?
Nice.
Thank you so much for listening, ladies. We hope that you enjoy it, and we will yeah, we will see you. See you is the right word? I'm not sure. We'll keep in touch, and yes, see you in 2 weeks' time. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
That's all for today, ladies. Thank you so much for joining our conversation, and we truly hope you loved it. If you haven't yet, please do subscribe to our podcast and also share it with other fabulous ladies so they could benefit from it too. If you want to get in touch, you could find us on all major social media platforms. Speak to you very soon.